To enter the world of financial crime, one must first learn the secret playbook. This isn't about a single act, but a three-stage framework that underpins every criminal empire, a process that washes dirty money to make it appear legitimate. The United Nations estimates that between 2 and 5% of global GDP is laundered every year, a staggering figure that could be as high as $2 trillion. This is the first and most dangerous move in the entire game: placement. Before diving into the tactics, it's crucial to understand the blueprint. The entire process of money laundering typically unfolds in 3 stages. The process begins with placement. This is where the mission starts, and it is the moment of greatest danger. You have a mountain of conspicuous physical cash derived from illegal activities like drug trafficking or extortion, and you need to inject it into the legitimate financial system without setting off any alarms. Next is layering. With the money now in the system, the goal is to make it a ghost, burying its origins under an avalanche of complex financial transactions, often involving multiple banks and jurisdictions. The final stage is integration. This is the victory lap, where the now clean money re-enters the economy, ready to be spent, invested, or used to fund further criminal activities. That is the 3-stage framework. Now, we will explore the specific tradecraft criminals employ to execute that critical first step. Number 1. Smurfing, the art of staying small. Let's dive into the tradecraft. The most classic opening move is smurfing, also known as structuring. Imagine a duffel bag holding $1 million in cash from illicit sales. You can't simply walk into a bank and deposit it. In the United States, any cash transaction over $10,000 automatically triggers a currency transaction report, CTR, to the authorities. That's the tripwire. To get around this, the $1 million is broken down into smaller, less conspicuous sums. A team of foot soldiers, or Smurfs, is hired to take the cash and make dozens of small deposits across different banks and accounts, each one carefully kept below the $10,000 threshold. A professional operation avoids round numbers, instead depositing irregular amounts like $8,333 or $9,500 to mimic legitimate business revenue and avoid automated detection systems designed to flag structured deposits. Individually, each deposit is insignificant, but together, they move a mountain of cash into the financial system. A more advanced and insidious technique is known as cuckoo smurfing. The name comes from the cuckoo bird, which lays its eggs in another bird's nest. Here, a launderer hijacks an innocent person's financial transaction. A criminal organization intercepts the details of a legitimate payment, for example, a person overseas trying to send money to a relative. A Smurf then deposits dirty cash directly into the intended recipient's account. The recipient gets their money, completely unaware that the legitimate funds have been swapped for criminal proceeds, but the launderer has now washed their cash through what appears to be a normal remittance, like a cuckoo laying its egg in another bird's nest. Number 2. Hiding in plain sight, cash-intensive businesses. Some businesses are a natural river of cash, making them the perfect fronts for money laundering. Think of laundromats, car washes, bars, and cash-only restaurants. They are inherently difficult to audit. A criminal purchases one, and it begins generating real, legitimate revenue. Then, they simply commingle their illicit cash with the day's legitimate earnings. Here's how the tactic works. If a pizza restaurant legitimately makes $3,000 in cash sales on a given day, the owner might add $2,000 of dirty money into the register. At the end of the day, the books will declare $5,000 in sales. After paying taxes on that inflated income, a cost of doing business, the original $2,000 is officially clean. The art lies in inflating the numbers just enough to look like a very successful business, not a criminal enterprise that would attract unwanted attention. This is precisely why the drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was known to use such businesses to wash his cartel's money. Casinos are another classic front, both physical and online. A criminal can walk in appearing to be a high roller, trading a suitcase of cash for a mountain of casino chips. This instantly converts physical cash into the casino's financial instruments. To make the activity look authentic, they'll gamble for a while, perhaps losing a small amount, which is treated as the cost of doing business, a laundering fee. Afterwards, they cash out the remaining chips, often asking for a check. The casino provides official paperwork for their winnings, creating a perfect paper trail that explains the origin of their newfound fortune. Number 3. Converting cash to assets, luxury goods, art, and real estate. Another key placement strategy is converting physical cash directly into high-value, easily transportable assets. This involves purchasing items like luxury cars, yachts, gold, or fine art, which can hold their value and obscure the original source of the funds. The art market, in particular, has long been a favored vehicle due to its lack of regulation, the anonymity it offers, and the subjective nature of an artwork's value. A criminal can buy a painting with dirty money, often using a shell company to conceal their identity. After holding the piece for a time, they can sell it. The money from the sale is now recorded as profit from an art investment, not a criminal enterprise. In one notable case, the embezzling banker Edemar Cid Ferreira acquired a massive art collection, including an $8 million painting by Jean-Michel Basquiat. He then tried to smuggle the artworks into the U.S., with shipping documents that falsely declared their value at just $100 each to avoid detection. Real estate exposure is also a prime target for laundering large sums. Criminals use complex schemes involving anonymous shell companies and trusts to purchase properties with illicit funds. The property can then be rented out to generate a stream of legitimate-looking income or sold later, with the money integrated as profit from a property deal. The infamous 1MDB scandal saw billions of dollars in stolen Malaysian state funds funneled into luxury real estate in New York and Los Angeles, alongside yachts and Picasso paintings, all purchased through a web of shell companies to hide the money's criminal origins. Number 4. Moving money across borders, trade-based laundering and smuggling. For large international organizations, the mission is often to move money across borders. A sophisticated method for this is trade-based money laundering, TBML. The international trade system is a colossal and often chaotic network with an enormous volume of transactions that makes it the perfect environment to hide illicit funds. The core tactic involves misrepresenting the value of goods on invoices. For example, a criminal enterprise might sell a shipment of cheap t-shirts to its own shell company overseas, but write an invoice for 5 times their actual worth. The shell company pays the inflated price using dirty money. The money has now successfully crossed the globe, perfectly disguised as a legitimate commercial transaction. Variations include under-invoicing, phantom shipments where no goods are sent at all, or issuing multiple invoices for the same shipment to justify several payments. The infamous Bank of Credit and Commerce International, BCCI, which collapsed in 1991, used these very techniques, along with widespread bribery and fraud, to launder billions for everyone from drug traffickers to dictators. And then there is the most direct, high-risk method, bulk cash smuggling. This is the simple act of physically transporting cash across borders to deposit it in countries with weaker banking regulations. Cash is concealed in hidden compartments in cars, luggage, or commercial cargo. Once smuggled successfully, the money can be wired back from the foreign account, now appearing to originate from a legitimate offshore source. Whether it's through dozens of small deposits, the inflated sales of a pizzeria, the anonymous purchase of a masterpiece, or a manipulated shipping invoice, the goal of placement is always the same: to get dirty money into the legitimate financial system. This is the most vulnerable stage for any launderer. It is the point where the physical cash is closest to its criminal source, and therefore the risk of getting caught is at its absolute highest. For law enforcement, this stage represents the first and best chance to intercept the funds and stop financial crime before the trail is buried forever. Once the money is successfully placed, the criminal moves on to the next mission: layering, where a web of confusion is spun to make the money vanish. We will cover those tactics in our next video. Stay curious and skeptical. Thanks for watching.